Good evening and welcome back to Gary's Classic Cars. Well, as you all know now, it's beginning of October and the nights are darkening in and the clocks will be going back. So it's going to be dark even earlier, and unfortunately the show season's coming to an end, which is a bit of a pain. Quite enjoy doing the shows, but there's still a few morning meets, so hopefully the weather will be kind to us and we can still get out to some of them. But I thought I'll do a little bit of tinkering in the garage over the winter period. I've got a few little jobs to do on the XR2 here just behind me, which I'm going to go through very shortly. And obviously the sunbeam to my right, we're going to do a bit of a refresh underneath and a bit of paintwork on the top. New bits on the inside. I've got a new headlining and some visors and a bit of a general tidy up. But tonight I'm going to start off with the XR2. So if you'd have seen the build when I did it on the channel, I actually put a Sports R Kent cam in it and I can't stop it pinking. It's driving me potty. I put an adjustable vernier timing gear on it. I haven't had it set up properly. That is a failing on my behalf and I need to get that sorted out. I just need to go and see the engine builder. I've retarded the timing. Sometimes it's okay, sometimes it's not. What I have noticed, it's running very weak. And on a recent run to Wales, when I did my Hillman Imp rally, I got 37 to the gallon out of it. And I did give it a bit of stick on the motorway. And when you take the plugs out, they're very, very white. So I took the carb apart and checked the jets. The main jet is 117 and the secondary is 127. So I've been on to Demon Tweaks and I've managed to get some replacement jets here. And what I've done for the 117, I've got 120 for the main, and for the 127 I've got a 130 for the second. So hopefully they're not going to be too big. But what I'm hoping is changing the jets will richen it up a little bit, and fingers crossed it may not pink as bad. If I can get over this bit of pinking or sporadic pinking, I'll be happy till I go and see Andy, who's actually moving units from Shrigley Tube, and we'll whiz the head off, the rocker cover off, timing cover, and we'll just check this adjustable timing gear I've got on it, because I have actually just put it on as I got it and the cam was retarded, which advanced my ignition timing, so I've had to retard that as well. I've had the dizzying bits to see if I can adjust any of the bob weights or fix them, and it's a bit of a right complicated mess on the later dizzy because it does come apart. I have got an earlier dizzy out of an earlier car, but that's completely different, so I can't even mix and match. So what I need to do is go through the rev range, but it's basically just between 2000 and sort of 2750. Not all the time, it's very strange. I went to South Wales, it was perfect. On the way back, it started playing up, and that was on the same fuel, so I just don't know what's going on, but I need to get to the bottom of it. So tonight I'm going to change the jets in the carbs, and also when I was mucking around changing the valve stem oil seals, I broke the blooming accelerator cable, so I bought a new accelerator cable, and what happened, I leant on this section here, this threaded section, and snapped it. It works okay, but it's just not right. So I've got myself a new one off eBay. It's supposed to be a genuine what's it called, Borgbeck, but I don't know whether it is or not. It just looks like a copy thing, but it was about 15 quid, maybe 20, so I'm not too fussed. So we're going to change that as well tonight on the XR2. I've also done a little bit of paint work. I wasn't happy with the bonnet, so after I came back from the Welsh Wicked weekend, flatted all the front off, painted, and I chipped the scuttle because the bonnet's a little bit tight on the passenger side from when I did the repairs. So I've repainted the bonnet, repainted the scuttle, and repainted the tops of the wings, and I repainted the front panel because I took some advice off someone of spraying the under bonnet cover with spray glue, which then run down everywhere and went on my grille and went on the panel, the front panel, and when I cleaned it off, took the paint off it. So I thought I'll just freshen it all up. So I've had all the front off, headlamps, indicators, wheel arches off, both sides, and I painted my passenger door, which I had stripy. a stripe in it, and also where Andy had kindly opened his door on it and put a little dint. So I've managed to flat that out and got that out without putting any filler in. So I'm very happy. So that looks lovely now, and I've buffed it all up. I do need to give it another buff because it's been about a week and a half since I've painted it. But my stripes are gone, which is great. So very few in the roof, but I think I'll live with that for now. But I did a panel match colour. It looks slightly dark, but outside looks okay. So I'm happy for now. If I'm not happy, I'll have to blow it down the doors. But for what it is, it'll do, and it looks all nice, and it's got the original orangey peely finish. So what I also did is painted the inner wings as well. On the passenger side, I wasn't happy with that, but I've had a big reaction, so I've got to do that. But it's behind the battery, so I'm not too fussed at the moment, but I do need to sort it. But it just looks a bit better, and I did that with the aerosol, and I think the lacquer reacted. Anyway, without further ado, we're going to whiz the rocker cover off. I think I shall do the accelerator cable first, because that's a bit of a pain, because I've got to go under the dash, and then we'll do the jets. We won't go for a run in it. We'll fire it up in the garage because it's raining, or it's just starting to rain, and I don't want to go out and get it all wet. What I'm also going to do, some of my wheels, when I had them sandblasted, they were quite heavily corroded, and particularly the spur wheel, and I think there's one on the near side rear, and I think near side front got a little bit of pitting. So what I'm going to do, the centre caps don't match because they've never been done. So I've got some new tyres ordered, because one of these tyres is new and the rest aren't, and I think it's it doesn't feel like it. I've not got confidence in it like I've got an Eelman Imp for going round corners yet, and I think the tyres are a bit hard. Brilliant tread. So what I'm going to do is remember which is my new one, put that on the spur and put 4 new tyres on. And at that time I'm going to repaint the wheels, even though I've had them powder coated. I'm going to sand them off and paint them all to get rid of them, put some filler in these little dints or corrosion areas, and paint the centre caps and everything, so I'll be all happy. I'll probably cut the valves off and get someone to put some new valves in as well. And then they'll look mint again. But apart from that, everything's okay. I've got to clean off underneath for the winter. The MOT is due in January, so I want to make sure it's all clean and ready for that. And just go through it again and make sure we're happy. So without ado, I'm going to set the camera up and we'll get the air filter off, and that'll allow us to see this end of the accelerator cable, and I can go through how it comes off. So I'll speak to you very shortly. Okay, so quite simple to take off. There's these 3 screws here. My plug lead is tucked into a plastic clip under there, and there's a little breather just here, which we just pull out. So first port of call is just undo the 3 screws on the air filter, and that will release that out the way. Now, on some of these, you tend to lose, I think it's quite a common thing, you tend to lose the bosses, and I've only got one, so I've made some, but they're not the best. But I need to get my welding, when I get my welding set out next, I need to just rectify it. But I'll explain to you in a minute when I've got it all undone, and you'll probably see what I mean by the boss. So this one has a proper aluminium bossing which goes into the air filter, and what it does, it basically stops you from screwing this screw down too much and squashing the rubber. So I've made some little pipe sleeves, some sleeves. What I really need to do is just tack it on, so when I take the washer out it comes out, because it's a bit of a pain. That one will stay in, but these fall in if I'm not careful. So what I've got to do is just pull the washer up, get my nail on and hold the boss inside if I can. It's very difficult, and pull it out all together. Oops, no, can't do it. Oh, that one's fell in the air filter. Right, so I need to sort that out. Anyway, then we just lift the air filter off. Dead easy. And all it does, they sit on top of there to stop you squashing it down too tight. But make sure we get that out before we go any further. The type I'm on about, these are the original ones. The little boss that goes through the rubber, and that actually sits on top of there. So when you tighten it up, it doesn't go down too tight. So I've made mine the same length. I just need to probably weld the washer on further down, and then they'll slide in, but they're a little bit smaller in diameter, so can't really do that. Anyway, that's a job for the future, I would think. So this is the accelerator cable, and you can see I've made a bit of a mess. So this is like a plastic clip, but this is all snapped. So all there is, there's a underneath the, this is the, if you can see it there, that's the automatic choke mechanism with the hot water flowing through it. There's a little clip that just slides over the end of the accelerator cable, and that basically just holds the cable onto the module which is on the carb. So you flick that off with a screwdriver, that's all it is. Has a little hole in it. It's a D shape, so it's flat there, curving, goes around the outside of the cable. And then you just pop that off the little ball on the carburetor. Now when you push these in, they have 4 little spring clips, so when you push them in they go in easy, but you can't pull them out. And the idea is this metal bit is meant to just keep them in tight. So now we've just got to push the lugs in. That's the word I'm looking for. Push the lugs in to allow, oops, just broke a lug off there, allow to get the cable out if you can. It's a bit difficult because you need to push all 4 in at once, but you can't. So it's a bit of a pain really, but I suppose if it's your old cable and you're throwing it away, it doesn't really matter if you break it, which is maybe my theory in a minute. I might just get the hacksaw and just cut it off. Got 1 lug out there. I think once you get a couple out, there's 2. You get the 3rd one. The problem is the 4th one underneath is very difficult to get to. I can't get that, don't think. That's not having it. Push that in. Oh, gee whiz. Yeah, it's a bit of a pain, that. Oh, it's not having it. Yeah, so we can see we've got it snapped here, and there's your inner cable, which is frayed as well. So what I might have to do is okay, so now we've got that out. Bit of fidgeting, but I didn't put it all on camera. We've just got a little clip here which goes onto the pipe of the radiator, and it holds the accelerator cable in. Now right down here, a bit difficult to see, but on the bulkhead it goes through a grommet, and this little plastic clip here goes in the bulkhead, and then there's a grommet on the other side which goes onto the accelerator cable. So I'm going to climb underneath the dash and strip it off. I'm not going to show you that. I'll come back when I've got it out. We got the old cable off, cut it up. I forgot that is a right pain. That goes through the bulkhead, and if you look on it, it's got a bit of a taper. So it goes through all right. Trying to pull it back's a nightmare. And then I couldn't get enough slack, so I had to cut it off at this end. Good job I've got a full replacement. So when we feed this back in, we'll be very careful, we don't scratch the car. But what happens, that goes through the pedal, the cable, then this rubber bung goes in the pedal, pushes in, and then that pulls up tight. And then that goes on the bulkhead and gives us a nice tight fit. So now my next protocol is feed this back in here, and then it'll just loop that round, clip into there. Job's a good one, we're all done. We'll resume back shortly. Okay, what a job. Joffin Nora. I had to take the pedal out under the dash just to get the bit in, and I'll try and get a video up there after. But I wound this right out to give me as much, get this as tight to give me as much clearance. I just couldn't get it. Absolute nightmare. So the next job is to, this little knob here and goes onto the ball on the carb. What I've got to do is push this through this square hole here, which is easy enough, and feed that through and clip in there. But because it's not a genuine Ford one, it's a bit of a tight squeeze. Try and file that bracket out a little bit. So that's got that, and then I just need to pop that. Now I've got to screw this in to take some slack out. Get back on down there. Right, so that's just sat on there now. I know that's fully off. So what we'll just do now, just put this clip, slide it back on. Job's a good one. Now I need to put my breather pipe back on here. Now don't forget my genuine Ford hose I got. That was a good buy off eBay. And we need to make sure this, what I have to do is fire it up and get it off choke. If it'll start. Right, we'll let that warm up for a minute. Okay, so now we're done, and revving just nice. So tomorrow night's job, Thursday night, is undo that screw, that screw, that screw, that screw, them two, top off. At the bottom of there is the main jet and the second jet. Need to swap them over for the 120 and the 130 as opposed to 117 and 127, which is standard. We'll recheck the mixture, probably run a bit richer then, and hopefully it'll have a bit more oomph in it because it's got more fuel going in. Fingers crossed, we're done. So if you do try and do it, you'll have to take the pedal out. That's the easiest way to hook the cable in underneath. But it's not impossible, but it's took me about 20 minutes, 25 minutes or so. So anyway, that's it for now, and we'll crack on with the fuel mixture tomorrow. Good evening and welcome back. So it's now Thursday the 9th, and as planned we're going to change these jets in the carb. So first thing, we're just going to pull this plug off here, which is the cold start valve. So that actually, when you switch the ignition off, it shoves a little valve in and switches the cold start off. Next I'm going to undo these two slot headed screws, but I'll firstly just take my rubber seal off. Don't want to lose that. And just make sure my screwdriver's clean. Don't want any carb getting any debris in it. So these are just two screws that, I don't know why they're slot headed and the others are different, star headed, but they are what they are. So we're going to change the two jets, the main jet and the second accelerator jet, for a couple extra. Now I saw Andy last night in the imp club and said, oh, that'll make a big difference. He said my pinking could be down to the weather, the air pressure, which does affect it as well. That's why it's been a bit sporadic, but I'm still not convinced. But I have planned to go and see him and adjust the, or set up the cam. But if we're richen it up, what we'll do, we'll take a plug out once we've changed the jets. We can have a look at that and then we'll see where we are, and then why it's not raining tonight. It's a lovely night like it was last night. We'll give it a blast. We'll put the camera in the car and see how it performs. And then what we'll probably also do is just check the timing as well. So there's my 4 screws out. So I just whiz them out, and that loosens the carb off the body altogether. Now I've got my jets here, my 127, sorry, my 120 and my 130. So I'm going to do the 121 first, which will replace the 117. So I'm going to just lift. I've got to be careful because you don't want it to break the gasket. Now I should be all right with this because I've had it apart before, so I know the gasket's okay. Just pull that vacuum. There's a little vacuum pipe on the back. I'll pull that off. That might just help me. Oh God, that's tight. Which is good. Got a wire around it. I'll leave that on. I'll not take it off. I've just got to try and break the carb gasket now. I think I've got to accelerate it just to allow the top to come off. Oh, this fell off the other night or the other week when I had it off. Right, I'm trying a bit too hard there. Yeah, I just need to get rid of that out of the way. Right, okay, so hopefully you can see that. And these are the two jets in the bottom. That one and that one. One's the main jet and one's the second choke jet. So I think this one, we'll check it when we get it out. Just unscrew it with that's it, with a screwdriver. And that is the 117 jet, that, because it says it on the side. Which is, don't know whether you'll see that, but just on, come a bit closer, it just says 117 on there. So I've got my 120, so we'll put that on the floor, and we'll keep these, so the standard jetting on the XR2 with this carb on, this round top carb, is 117 and 127, so actually it's quite a big difference. If you look at the two there, the two hole sizes, quite a bit of a difference. So it will give it a lot more fuel. Fingers crossed, and it should go a bit better. So I'll screw that one in to there. And we'll nip it up because we don't want it to come out. And then we'll whiz the other one out, which is the 127 one. Again, you should be able to just see. Very difficult, but it's on the side there. And we'll put the 131 in. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the correct ones back in the packets. Get the new ones out. quite a simple task. And yeah, still a bit. I don't know what the difference between the 127 and the 130 is. I presume it's 0.1 of a millimetre or 0.3 of a millimetre, but who knows. This is the new one, which is the 130. So we'll screw that one into there. Now I did put a new gasket set on this when I rebuilt the engine. So the gasket is okay and everything's pumping. Right, so I just need to pop that back in to its position and just pull the, you've got 3 hands here, pull that accelerator. I'm also got to get the, once I've got that on, right there, I need to make sure we get the accelerator section back into its bung as well on the opposite side, just down there. Otherwise we'll end up with a right hassle. Right, that's that there. So in theory, this carb just has some locating lugs on the base. Just need to find them. Being a bit of a bugger, should we say? Oops, I swore. A bit awkward, not a bugger. But anyway, we'll get it eventually. It's just making sure everything's in its place. Quite simple to do. There you go. Right, now get the long, you'll see the difference in the screws. The big long ones and the short ones. So the long ones go in the carb and that screws it to the body. And I think the 2 short ones screw the top section to the bottom section. So we'll do them first. And you'll notice the automatic chokes closed over. So we'll nip them down equally. And then we'll give it a, we'll get the plug out. Take a couple of the plugs out and just have a look at the colours. Right, that's nipped down. I've noticed here and there is broken off on this carburettor. Both on the same side, so I wonder whether someone's had too big a screwdriver in it or something in the past and damaged it. Who knows? But anyway, it doesn't affect the operation. I'll just nip these down diagonally. So pull it on the base plate equally, and then we'll just nip them up eventually properly. Now what we mustn't forget is put this wire on, the cold start wire, otherwise it won't go. Because when you pull the ignition on, that pulls a valve out and allows the fuel go in. And then apparently, I read up a little bit, that used to overrun when cars overrun because the fuel was still going in. So that stops the fuel going in altogether, so it stops them overrunning. So that's 1, 2, 3 and 4. Right, as you can see, that one's been cut because I struggled to get that off in the past, but we managed to sort it now. So that's a standard plug spanner size, and that is the Ford one, so you can see the difference. So all the CVHs had them in. So we'll whiz number, you can see this. No, I'll have to reposition the camera. I'm going to whiz number 1 plug out. Let's just see if we can adjust it down a bit. There we go. Should be able to see my hand. Yep, there you go. Right, we'll whiz number 1 plug out. We'll whiz number 3 out. Oh, that's tight. It's not that tight. I didn't put them in that tight. Anyway, easy enough to change with the air filter off. And of course I've no rubber in the end, so we look at the plug and it's quite white, so we need to change. We'll richen it up a bit, and I might end up swapping one of them back out, who knows, we'll have to see. But these are Bosch plugs R6, so I'm presuming they're equivalent to BP6 NGK, but Bosch were originally German plugs, so I'll just pull number 3 out, and we can see number 3. Look how clear that one is. That's very, very hot and pink, so we definitely needs richening up. What we're going to do, I'll check them all while we're here. So number 1 looks like it's a little bit black around the edge, which I reckon that's the one which is burning a bit of oil. Even though it's reconditioned, there must be something slightly amiss. It just does smoke a very little bit when you give it a lot of stick, which I do. So whether it's just one of the rings hasn't bedded in properly, I don't know. It's only done 2,000 miles, so might need a bit more time for it to settle in a bit. I know I did have a problem with number 1, misfiring at one stage. Just when I took it for the blooming MOT, running on 3 cylinders, but fortunate the guy he's a car man, classic car man, so he said, oh, you'll sort it, which I did. Got round the corner from the garage and it was on 4 and it's never missed a beat since. It's typical. Almost doesn't like going into the garage. So let's whiz number 2 out. Yeah, we can see number 2 how white that one is as well. So it definitely wants richening up. 100% wants richening up. So we shall get that sorted. I may as well whiz number 1 out and we'll check them all over. And then we know where we're at. And then it does no harm to take the plugs out now and again. It stops them getting seized in as well. So take number 4 out. Sorry, not number 1. And then what we're going to do is put the air filter back on. And we're going to check the timing. And then take it for a run. Yeah, see number 1 as well. Very, very white. So it's got a bit of oil on the thread, but the rocker cover has been leaking in the past. And I've sorted that, but obviously it doesn't get rid of the oil unless you wash it off, and then if I wash it off it goes in the engine, so I can't do that. Right, so done. So I'm now going to put the seal back on the carburettor, and we're going to go and put the air cleaner back on. So as we know, it just hooks in, sits on top. So we've got the 2 bosses there. That one can go in like so. That one goes in that one. And that one goes in that one. Right, what we'll do is just push the breather back in. And we'll put number 4 spark plug lead on the clip underneath, which stops it falling down and going on the exhaust manifold. But anyway, right, job's a good one. Make sure all my pipes are free round there. My dipstick tube decides to never stick in. It's loose. I don't know, I need to put some stuff on that. So then we can go get the camera set up in the car and go for a spin. Oh, it's not raining. I'll get my timing light out. So I'll set this up. Fortunately, I've got a snap-on one which I've had for blooming heck, going on 30 years, this timing light, and it's a real good one because it's got the idle speed on, so you can adjust that and set it up properly. And it's obviously got the advance and retard on the setting, so you can set the on top dead centre. You can set it on what you want, and then you just set your distributor on top dead centre. Right, so there we go. It's a cracking. I did lose it at one time, and my dad had it, and he couldn't find it. But anyway, so there it is. Look at that, snap on. So you got your flash on and off, tack or advance, reset, degrees increase and decrease. Come off choke pretty quick, so that's it, 1200 revs. Take the vacuum off, which it needs to be. Right, so that's on 925 RPM, which is good. We're on about 2 degrees, which is where it should be at 8 degrees with the vacuum off. But we'll live with that. He said, Andy, my engine man, said it should be all right. But once we get it timed up properly, we'll set it up, and then we know where we're at. Okay, so I've not been out in this for a few days. It feels very strange. The accelerator's racing away, so I'll probably end up having to muck around with that while we're out. Well, let's try it, eh? See how lively it is. When you've been driving a modern car, although they're so much nicer, it is strange getting back in an old one. Creaks and bumps up, no lights, so that means they must be off. Yeah, right, so we're off. Oh, we filled the hole in again, 3rd time. But it's level now, let's dip down. They did it once there, and it was pouring out, dipped down. So they did it again, it bulged up, and it was leaking again, and they've just done it a 3rd time in a matter of weeks. This road's a joke where I live, Warrington Road. It's constantly got blooming roadworks on, constant, and it takes you about a mile, takes you 25 minutes at night. It's driving everybody potty on this state. A bit of pink in there, and we're running at 2 degrees, so I just don't get it. You know, Andy did say I need to change the plugs for maybe some colder plugs. So we'll do that. He said he's got a set because his banger men use them for racing, so he said he's got a set he can sell me. Seemed to pick up okay, that a lot more smoother and quicker. So we're on the right track. We'll whiz a plug out when I get back, and we'll see how it looks. If it's still a bit weak, might go for the next one up. Jumping as if it's running weak. I've got to drive, don't have a 3rd gear. That was in 2nd. I'll say that didn't pull as quick as I thought, but it went very well considering in 3rd gear. I'll drop it down a gear. Very well indeed. 2nd gear, whizzed it round. Won't do the plugs tonight because they'll be red hot. I've just had a thought. We'll do them separately another night tomorrow when it's cooled down before we start it again. Get on the open road here in a minute. Oh, just pull out your plonker, your asteroid. Very well. 6,500 in 3rd. Fourth gear. Oh, it's pulling like a train. That's pretty nippy. That's 1600. Pulls like Billy-O. There you go. It's quite easy to change your jets and your carb. 6 screws, 2 underneath, drop them out. I would also recommend you check, because there should be 117 and 127 for standard. If you've got a cam in and a different exhaust, you probably do need to richen it up a little bit. It will go like the clappers, as you've just seen. Anyway, thanks for watching, and give us a like and subscribe. I have just lost 2 subscribers for some reason. I don't, whether they've done it by mistake, I don't know, but hey ho, things happen. So if you do like it, please subscribe. It helps my channel grow, and we'll get into more tinkering in the garage during the winter period. Although we are at St Catherine's Hospice this Sunday, which I'll be going in the Hillman Imp, or the Sunbeam Imp, and hopefully my man who I sold the Sunbeam Singer Chamois Sport to will go as well, and we can have a picture together. Anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.